إلى أقربهما من كبابة. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the one whose door is nearer to you. Which means when it comes to neighborhoods, what does it mean exactly in terms of neighbors? What do we care about the most? Proximity. The closer they are to you, the more you call them neighbors and the more rights they have on you. We also divided these rights according to how close they are to you, not in terms of geography, in terms of also connection. So if you have blood relations with them, they have more rights on you. And if they're Muslims versus non-Muslims, they have more rights on you. So we covered all these issues before. But this one here about proximity in terms of location and geography, basically. And that's why in Islam, one of the huquq, one of the rights of al-jiran, al-jar, is called al-shuf'a. Al-shuf'a is basically, it's also known in business as well. So if you're going to be selling the house, if you're going to be selling your house, there's a system in Islam. If the neighbors share the wall with you, if they share the fence with you, they have the right to buy the house first. What does that mean? Let's say I want to move out of the neighborhood and we'll go somewhere else. I want to put my house on sale. Before I put my house on sale, my neighbors around me, they have the right to be notified that, hey, I'm going to be selling the house if you guys want to buy it. Okay, if you're going to be selling it to your neighbors, how much should you sell it to your neighbors? Do you have to give them a discount? Do you have to? No, you don't have to. You give them market price. Market price. The price, it's, for example, $450. Then I'm selling it for $450. If they suggest food $420, and you don't want to sell it for $420 because the market price is $450, do you have to give it to them for $420? The answer is no. So the point is, they have the right to do so. Okay, what if I didn't tell the neighbors? If I didn't tell my neighbors, what is the modern way of notifying your neighbors that you're selling the house and they have right to buy it first? What is it? The sign outside. If there is a sign outside, you're telling everybody, I'm selling the house. The neighbor next door have the right to say, I want to buy it. Islamically, I don't know about here, but Islamically, if you sell your house without telling your neighbor, and then the neighbors find out that you sold your house, Islamically, they have the right to go to the court and actually raise a case against you, and they will revoke that sale. They buy the house from you for the same price that was paid to you. That is Islamically. This is how much the right of and the haqq of the jar and the neighbor is very important. Why is that? Because if your neighbors, they don't want a stranger to be next to them. They got used to you probably. So therefore, if you're moving out, they need to bring somebody they might need to bring somebody they feel comfortable with, like their sibling, their aunt, someone that they know, and so on. So they have a right, to do that. And this is what's called haqq al-shuf'a. But if you let them know and they didn't want to buy it or they couldn't afford it, then that's fine. You gave them the notification, they didn't take advantage of it, khalas, you have the right to sell the house and should be fine, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. And even if they come later on to revoke the deal or the sale, too late for that. Because they've already been given their notification, they didn't take advantage of it, and that would be it. So here the Prophet ﷺ said to Aisha radiallahu anha, you give it to the closest, to the nearest door, okay? Okay, now in our situation here, when you say nearest door, what does it mean? Is it the right, left, or across the street? What do you guys think? Why? Just measure it? There you go, the smart answer, right? Well, honestly, in this case, it's neutral. Right, left, it's neutral. But if you would like to go, as the Prophet always goes to the right side, that is an indication that you might think of those who are to the right. Or maybe you go by again how close you know them. Maybe the neighbors on the right side, they're not very friendly. You say hi, they don't even respond. Those on the left, they're very welcoming. So in this case, I would share with these neighbors more than those who are on the right side. That should be fine. Okay, what if you're in an apartment? What do you do in this case? Which door? Which door is the closest to you then? Across the hallway, right? Closer than the one on the right side or the left side. Okay, does the same rules apply to the temporary neighbors? What does it mean of temporary neighbors, Jama'ah? What would that happen to you? Huh? Hotels. Do they have a right on you? Let's say if you order Chinese, do you have to go and knock on the door next door says, do you guys have some Chinese food? You don't have to, right? This neighborhood is not the same neighborhood as in the permanent form of neighborhood. The Prophet ﷺ says in the Hadith, تعوذوا بالله من جار المقامة فإن جار البادية يتحول. He said, ﷺ, you seek refuge with Allah Azza wa Jal from the permanent neighbor. Because the temporary neighbor, which means that neighbor in the desert, those are the Bedouins basically who live in the desert, he says, the neighbor in the desert, يتحول, it's going to move somewhere else afterwards. Like because they follow the water and they follow the pasture, right? So every now and then they move out and they have new neighbors afterwards. But if you buy a house somewhere, you're stuck. So he says, always seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the permanent neighbors, because these temporary neighbors, they just move away and someone else come after them and so on. Wallahu ta'ala. Any question, Jama'ah? Yes?
I know this isn't that related to the topic, but why would your neighbors buy your house if they live right next to you?
Why would they buy the house next to them? Well, maybe because they want this for investment. They have the right to do that. Or maybe because they want to buy it so that at least they want someone they know to buy it. So that's to keep someone who's related to them next door. Yeah. Yes?
Does the neighbor have more right over your relative who doesn't, who is not your neighbor?
So the neighbor who's not relative to you, does he have more right on you than a relative who's not neighbor to you? It depends.
Selling the house.
Oh, for selling the house? Actually, yes. The neighbor who's next door has more right than a relative who's not neighbor to you. Islamically, the neighbor next door. Again, these go also by the local custom and tradition. In this society here, these rules might be very flexible, so might not necessarily be applicable in that sense. However, if you would like to have that courtesy, especially if you know that you have a Muslim neighbor next to you, and this way you will let them know. Okay, does that mean only the one with whom you share the fence and you share the border, the lot and the line? Or does it mean maybe 2-3 houses away? We could actually extend that to a few houses away as well. Let's say if you know you have a Muslim neighbor a few houses away and you're selling your house, it would be good if you let them know, hey, by the way, we're moving out from the neighborhood. If you would like, if you know someone who wants to buy the house, let me know. So in this case, at least you give them the chance if they want to buy it, or if they want to bring a relative to be close to them. Wallah. Nah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Of course. Absolutely. Nah. So basically, when people buy and sell houses, they go by the economics, by the market price, right? And all these things. So if people, they don't care about neighbors and they sell and buy, are we crossing the lines right now of the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I would say, no, you're not, in terms of, yani halal, haram. But if your neighbor objects to a sale, then this one becomes a problem. And again, I would always recommend, if you would like, before you even put the sign, like some houses, for example, they go on sale before they put the sign on the front lawn, right? So they know that they offered for sale. So in this case, you have the option as a neighbor to talk to your neighbor and let them, hey, you're selling the house. Do you mind if we check it out? Blah, blah, blah. And then the moment they put the sign out there, khalas, you'll be notified. If you were not the first person to come forward, it's done. Wallahu a'lam. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you have to notify your neighbor first, right?
Mm.
Are you allowed to sort of give that person a special price and raise the price?
You don't have to give anyone any special prices. Sell the house any price you want. Again, the market's got to regulate the price.
No, so for example, let's say I have a cousin. I would give him a special price of $420.
Oh, you want to give the cousin a special price? Okay.
If the neighbor's willing to buy it, I would only sell it for $450.
Okay, if you're going to sell your cousin for a discounted price and your neighbor knows about it, they have the right, shar'an, to take it for the same price. Nah, because if this is how much you really want the house for, yani. Wallah, jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. نعم تفضل